Good morning, my fellow Americans. It's time to sit down, strap in, and get ready for this gorgeous day that we're going to have. Let's have some fun while we're at it. Today, I'm going to have a message for Republicans, conservatives, everyone who has an R next to their name, or everyone who considers Trump to be Jesus incarnate. Look, I'm going to say something that I've never said, that I had never really said before on my channel, and it wasn't because I was scared to say it or anything like that, but Trump is a new Christian, first of all. For those of you who don't know, I am a Christian. I am a conservative. But Trump is a new Christian. He became a Christian after entering the White House. He was kind of heading down that path to begin with, but he became a Christian and was baptized in the White House. So there are a lot of behavioral things that needed to be changed, and he had spent 70 plus years living that way. And so there was some deep-seated habits that needed to be changed, and he was in the process of changing them. I mean, he became much more docile. No, when I say docile, he became much more reserved and much more understanding towards the end of his term than he did in the beginning. But here's my point. Here's where I'm really going with this. Here's my true point. Donald Trump not being reelected is not the end of the United States. Well, I can't say that. Okay, it's not the end of the world. For those of us who are Christians, we know it is not the end. We know how this story ends. And in the end, God wins. So no matter what happens here, no matter what happens, God wins, and we win as a result, because we are children of God. So, to those of you who are dooming over Donald Trump being voted out of office, even whether it was legit or not, his removal from office has been finished. It is January 24th, so it's 4 days after. I took a long break because there was just so much competing information from both sides, and even from in the middle, that I wanted to just take a break and just sit back and see how things panned out, because I didn't know what to believe. I didn't know if what I was hearing from people such as Sidney Powell or Lin Wood or the Trump team was correct, or if what I was hearing from Fox News and other conservative, well, Fox News is not so much conservative anymore. They kind of jumped ship and ran, but other conservative media sources say we don't know if this is accurate, but we think it should be looked into. And then the very fact that it was completely dismissed on every stage that was given without even looking at any evidence, I think that was disturbing, but I don't know if there was actually any legitimate evidence to look at. So I can't say, I couldn't say, and I couldn't figure out what was true. So I didn't want to add to the confusion. And so that's why I took a small break. And, well, here's the thing. There were a lot of Christians and a lot of prominent Christians who were saying, God told me that Donald Trump is going to have another 4 years. And it was disappointing and upsetting to see that kind of stuff, because now I can't take you seriously on any other prophecies or prophetic words that you give, I mean, the Bible does say that if a prophet gives a word and it doesn't come true, you can ignore them. And I don't necessarily want to do that, but I feel obligated to do so. To call you out and say, look, you may have had a prophetic vision or a dream, and it may have been misinterpreted by you because you wanted to follow your own desires. You had a vested interest in Donald Trump winning. And so did I, honestly, because I believe in religious freedom and Christians not being labeled as insurrectionists, or Republicans being labeled as insurrectionists or anything else. And the vast majority of Christians are Republican. So I don't want to be labeled that way because I'm not an insurrectionist. I didn't go to the DC Capitol. I knew it was going to go bad simply because, and that's Antifa's MO. I mean, they go in like a wolf in sheep's clothing and try to create discord. And that's exactly what they did. They tried to create chaos and sully the message. That's what they did with BLM. Well, granted, there were some bad actors in BLM as well. I think the idea, I understand the idea of what they were trying to say. And yeah, there is some legitimacy to what they had to say. Some of it is misguided, but there is some legitimacy. I know that I'm a horrible person for saying that, for considering the ideas or considering the concerns and grievances of another person. But step back for a minute. Some of them may be misguided. Some of them may not. So we need to take them all to consideration and not dismiss whole cloth. Same thing with Democrats. We cannot dismiss them whole cloth. We need to proceed in love, not in tribalism or in anger or retaliation, whatever. But we need to proceed in love, because that is what Christians are supposed to do. We are supposed to proceed in love even when we're being slapped in the face. And a lot of conservatives and Christians and Republicans are being slapped in the face, and we need to respond with love. Now, does that mean that you turn yourself into a doormat? Of course not. But restraint, control. You do not fly off the handle. You do not take action where an action is not needed. But to say that for Christians to sit there and say, and I've seen some of this, and I find it incredibly disturbing. But for Christians to say, oh, Donald Trump is still going to be president. I'm like, no, he cannot. He cannot be president. It is impossible now. Well, if Joe Biden is impeached? No. If Joe Biden is impeached and removed from office, the vice president takes over. If she's impeached and removed from office, the Speaker of the House takes over, Nancy Pelosi. If the Speaker of the House is removed, I believe it's either the Senate Majority Leader or the House Majority Leader, which is either it's the Senate Majority Leader, because the House Majority Leader is the Speaker of the House majority of the time. So it's the Senate Majority Leader, which is Chuck Schumer. It does not go back to Trump. You cannot erase the election. You don't just erase the election. That doesn't happen. It's unconstitutional. So if something like that were to happen, Trump would literally become who they said he would become, a militant dictator trying to do a coup. That would be a coup. And I'm not okay with that because it is completely unconstitutional. Do I like Joe Biden as president? No, I think he's going to suck. But I'll deal with it, just like I dealt with Obama. But trying to say that Trump is going to come back in March, as one thing I heard, in March, and take back over the government, no. No, 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 no. That is wrong. If he were to try to do it, I would come out and vehemently speak against him and say, no, that is not how this is done. That is not how things are done in this country. That is a fascistic dictator move. So if he were to do that, I would start believing the liberal media more. I would. Because he would literally fulfill all the things that they were trying to say about him, that he's a horrible fascistic dictator, which he's not. Which is why he's not going to try and come back and take over the government. He's not going to do that. Because he knows that it is unlawful. He knows that it is unconstitutional. And it would break this country into pieces. And all he has ever wanted to do is build this country up to the best of his ability with the ideas that he thought would do the best, do the most good for the most amount of people. And not just particular groups. So, if you are a conservative or a Republican or a Christian or whatever, if you are on the right and you are still thinking or trying to say or trying to tell people that Donald Trump is coming back, you need to stop it. You need to stop it right now. That is not okay. That is unconstitutional, is completely unlawful, and it will be disgusting. And that is coming from a conservative who really did like Trump. At least his policies. His person I was kind of iffy on. Sometimes it was good, sometimes it was eh. But for the most part, I agreed with his policies because I focus more on policies than I do personality. The presidential election should not be a popularity contest. It should not be a personality contest. It should not even be a character contest. It should be a policy contest. It should be about the policy, not about the person. Donald Trump cannot and should not, and I'm going to be very, very, very vehement on this, cannot and should not and should never try to take over the government. You will ensure that there is a socialist government for the next 100 years if you were to try something like that. Because everybody would run away from it. If it was unsuccessful, everybody would run from the Democrat part or run from the Republican Party to the arms of the Democrats, and they would love it. The Democrats would have a supermajority for the next 3 decades, and they would be able to implement everything that they want to implement. Don't you dare do it. And those of you who are trying to say that is going to happen, stop it. Stop it. You're part of the problem. You're not the solution. Sorry, I had to vent a little bit. Thank you for tuning in. If you like this video and you think somebody needs to hear it, please share it. Like it. Like and follow me on Facebook. Like and follow me on YouTube. I also have a Rebel account, and I had a Parler account, but that is TBD right now. So thank you guys for watching this video. Please share if you enjoyed it and you think somebody else needs to hear it. Other than that, I will talk to you next time. You guys have a great day.